probably go ahead and, my husband was going to just talk to you briefly about some of the reasons why we do what we do and what's in this food, and then and that'll be really brief, we promise. And then as soon as that happens, then we'll just really quickly kind of show you how we did. Were the things kind of okay, sort of? Oh, it's a surprising freshness, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it kind of catches you off guard. And I just feel like, especially if you have children or grandchildren or even a friend or whoever that isn't so eager to eat some of these good things, if you can find ways to kind of get them into the food, then it's just like you just sort of accomplish something. And even for ourselves, even if we like, I love juicing and smoothies and everything all the time, but I just think it's so wonderful to always be finding more ways to use these fabulous foods that are just so packed with nutrition and everything. So I will let my husband talk.
But you have to stay up here with me.
I will.
Just because she's an awful nice person to be around. Okay. Want to give you a little bit of... What's that? Okay. I want to give you a little bit of information that you may not have known before.
I see if you want in the fridge too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Look at that. I'm always in trouble.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you want, kale?
Yeah, right. Okay, and a bunch of kale. Okay. In our society today, I think most of us are familiar with bunch beets and with kale. And I'd like to ask you if you are aware of the fact that in history, back when, do you know where beets originated from? Have you ever even asked yourself that question? No. I never had either. And sometimes, when my wife said, you know, I want you to say something about beets, and like, I wonder where beets came from. I never even asked myself that question. They originated in the Eastern Mediterranean and Middle East. I would have thought that they were Finland or Sweden or Germany or some more cold type climate, but they actually have an origin there, and they have the reputation, not the reputation, they have the origin of actually being the most valuable vegetable that I think has ever been grown. They used to, in the Greek and Roman era, they used to offer beetroot to Apollo in Apollo's temple, and it was valued at its weight in silver. So they would eat the greens and offer the root to the gods. So what we charge in the farm box for beets is a real bargain.
Always remember that.
Okay. Now, kale, on the other hand, in the medieval era, this I didn't know either, was the most widely consumed, or the most volume of any vegetable. Did you know that? I didn't. I thought it would be like potatoes and cabbage or something, but kale predated cabbage. In fact, kale actually has its origin from a German word that actually is related to cabbage. In fact, we call cabbage a cole crop. It has the same origin, kale, cole. Now, in case you think that it's funny to pay for beets at the price of silver, I'm going to give you some information about beets. Did you know that, and you might think that they're worth even more than silver. Did you know that they have done very recently a preliminary study on beet juice to lower blood pressure? And this is what happened. they gave the participants in the study 1 cup of beet juice, which is, I believe it was 2 good-sized beetroots, but whatever it was then.
But they made it 8 ounces.
It was 8 ounces, okay? And they monitored the blood pressure for 24 hours, and the blood pressure dropped on average 11 points.
But did you say that it was from what their blood pressure was to start with?
No, that was different source than what this was. I'm just quoting from this one. They was, for people to qualify, they had to have, see, she likes little details in there. Blood pressure, systolic pressure of 140 to 159. Okay, stage 1 hypertension.
And just as a matter of note, that's what it's like on the farm. He'll come sweeping into the office. Oh, I think we should grow this. And then I'm like, okay, now, sweetheart, we have to think about how much it's going, how much space is. And he's the broad brush guy. I get caught up in the nitty gritty.
I want to grow lots of
But
things.
he's the
practical. But just as a matter of note, that is a greater effect than hypertension medicine, which was, and I got the source for that to make sure that I was reading it right. Yeah. Okay.
I have a question to ask
Yes.
you. With that study or that research that you're talking about, and it said it lowered blood pressure, somebody with diabetes, can beet, how does that
Blood
help?
pressure has one of the lowest glycemic indexes of any vegetable.
blood pressure or beets.
Beets, sorry. It's necessary to keep me straight. Okay. Beets have a very low glycemic index. So they probably would be suitable for somebody with diabetes.
But
Yeah.
as with everything, we're not the doctors. Talk to
No,
somebody.
we're not. We're not. Anyway, on WebMD. Now, I'm not a doctor, but WebMD is generally understood to be a reasonably prudent source of health information. They quoted some expert or experts that said that if everybody drank beet juice and experienced half of that reduction in blood pressure, do you know what the impact would be on American health? It would save 30,000 lives a year. Okay? How much would our government or would our pharmaceutical companies or whoever charge to save 30,000 lives a year? I think that if you think about that, the price of silver for a bunch of beets, I think we should raise the price. So, no. I think that the beet is a very underrated vegetable. I love beets, but there's another thing. They did a study. At England's University of Exeter, and they were looking at all kinds of substances and training methods to see which, if any, would improve stamina in exercise. See, I believe that it's important not just to eat a plant-based diet, but I love what John said, it's a lifestyle. You want to be healthy, not just eating certain things or avoiding certain things. We want to maximize our health, and so exercise, beets came in as the winner. Welcome. Beets came in as the winner of all the training methods and substances trialed in that study for its impact on the ability to endure exercise. It actually improved your ability to exercise 16% longer than without it, without tiring. So that was from drinking beetroot juice. So I hope that you're going to be inspired to try to plug some beets into your daily menu. Now, you know, my good wife catches me because she does the books for our family farm, which is the two of us now that we're empty nesters. So she gets to see where I spend money. And just today she said, you know, you're buying things on iTunes. Well, when I have to work in the office, there's other people working in the office, I like to listen to Paganini or Vivaldi or somebody to, and it also keeps the other noise that I have a bit of ADHD, and so it helps me be able to focus better. So, you know, I'm going to bet that everybody here has a favorite song. Favorite song? Anybody have a favorite song? How many have maybe could fit 10 favorite songs? Okay? Now, I hope that this was surprising to me. You know, Janice, I'm not as bad as you think. Okay? They did a survey of 1 million iTunes customers. Okay? How many? 1 million iTunes customers. Do you know what the average size of the library, the music library, of the 1 million iTunes customers were? Anybody want to take a guess? 500. I would have thought that was a lot. 7,160 songs is the average library. No, I have 354. I checked it just to make sure that I was there. Okay? 7,160 songs. Now, if almost everybody has a favorite song, and maybe 10 favorite songs, why do we buy hundreds or thousands of songs? Because if you listen to one or a few songs, they get tiring, right? They're no longer your favorite song, and we want to preserve our favorite song. You know, when you think about it, there are so many plant foods. People have their normal eating habits, and I hope that they're all plant foods. But for those of you who may not be eating all plant foods, and you may not want to, or friends that you come to and they say, you know, I could never be a vegetarian because I couldn't give up my X. Okay? I would say, don't worry about giving up your X, whatever it is. Okay? Start plugging in more plant foods. Think of the things that you can do with beets. Think of the things that you can do with kale, besides munching on them. Of course, I love a kale salad, and I love just plain cooked beets. But you can see here there's a lot of things that you can do with your plant foods. You know, one last point before I be quiet and let you guys learn how to make these great things. I like to think of it this way. Okay? If everything that you eat, let's say, was a quarter or a nickel. Some things aren't as valuable to eat as others. Like, I'm not very fond of Brussels sprouts. I don't think it's worth a penny. But
You'll learn.
You have a thing that you eat and it has a value. Okay? If you eat more things, what are you doing? You're adding value to your menu, right? So you have one thing and two things, and just think about it. When you start adding a whole bunch of things, your lifestyle, your eating, your menu, your whole quality of life is so much more enriched. The more things you can add, and the more ways in which you can create exciting, interesting things from those even ordinary, mundane things that you see, like a beetroot or kale. You're enriching your life, you're enriching your menu, and you're enriching your health.
And I was going to add something too, while he's still here. You know, he mentioned something about kind of experimenting and stuff. Totally, don't be afraid to do that. We were riding in the car once, and kale is a favorite thing for me to take. We travel a lot on airplanes because we travel a lot. And kale is a favorite thing for me to take. I'll like take a few pieces of bread and I'll spread like a veggies or something in between them, and then I'll put them in a plastic bag, and then I'll just grab some kale and put it in a bag, And I'll carry that, and then on the plane, I'll just stuff the kale into a sandwich, because kale, you know, the way we always carry everything on board with us, because we hate waiting at the other end for luggage. So we carry everything on board. So, you know, you've got your tow behind little carry-on suitcase, you've got your bag with your computer in it over your arm, and stuff wadded into that is this kale that's going to get sat on and munched as you put it in the seats. So I like the kale better than lettuce for that, because it seems to be a little bit heartier for that. And kale sandwiches taste really good. And so then while we're traveling on the plane, when it comes lunchtime and everybody else is pulling out their junk food, we take out our beautiful Sunizona sprouted bread, and then I pull out my squished up bag of kale and I stuff it in. So this one time when we're flying together, and we had been doing quite a bit of traveling, and we'd been having kale sandwiches pretty a lot, and I had some pears with me. And all of a sudden I got this little glint in my eye, and I looked at him and I said, I have a really good idea. And his eyes got big, and he said, you're going to put pears in the sandwich?
No, I didn't say it that way. I said, you're going to put pears in there?
Yeah, he was pretty
open-minded. That's a great idea.
That time he was open-minded. But you know what? It sounds weird.
No,
But slice some pears in with your kale. And it just made the most fabulous sandwich. And it was a recipe we cooked up while we were flying at however many feet up in the air. So,
amazing
you know,
what that lack of oxygen can do.
you know, so be experimenting. And then there's I'm wondering, Julian, maybe you could we move the garbage can, John, a little bit so people we could pick up all their trash somehow?
Yeah.
Or maybe everybody could help pick up everybody's trash. That might be the easiest. And then we can dispose of it, and then Angelia is going to start demonstrating for us.